Hello, and welcome to the one and only episode of Pours and Philosophy, where I, Lucia Esposito, am going to be teaching you how to make 3 special cocktails. But the twist about this episode is that all of the cocktails that we make are going to be tied into the material that we studied and learned this semester in Professor Kalela's class. So the 3 cocktails that I'm going to be teaching you how to make today are the 7 Habits Long Island, Aristotle's Happy Juice, and the Temperament Tea. So, let's get moving. Okay, so the first drink on our cocktail list tonight is the 7 Habits Long Island. I'm gonna be teaching you how to make it and trying to connect these spirits into how this connects to our 7 habits. So the first things first is you wanna make sure that this is cold. Habit number 1, be proactive. Be proactive in making sure that your drink is cold, but the whole purpose of the first habit is to focus and act on what you can control and influence instead of what you can't. That's what they mean when they're talking about that first habit. Second habit number 2 is gonna be begin with an end in mind. First ingredient of our 7 Habits Long Island is going to be vodka, and anytime you drink vodka, you're beginning to drink it with an end in mind. You will be ended that night. So we're going to do a half ounce of that, a little bit of a pour over going into there. When you're beginning with an end in mind is you're defining the clear measures of success and a plan to achieve them. I don't think that when anybody drinks vodka, they actually have a plan other than just have a good time. Put first things first. Habit number 3, that allows you to prioritize and achieve your most important goals instead of constantly reacting to urgencies. What this means is you're prioritizing the things that you have to, making sure that you're putting the gin in the drink, that half ounce of gin in the drink, because if you forget to put the gin in that 7 Habits Long Island, it's probably going to be disgusting and gross. Moving on, thinking win-win. This is why I get a Long Island anytime I want to drink, because you get to put tequila in it. So we're going to have tequila in, doing a half ounce of that. What habit number 4's purpose is to ensure that you collaborate more effectively by building high trust relationships. I personally grow better relationships with people when I'm drinking Milagros. Habit number 5 is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. And that means that you influence others by developing a deep understanding of their needs and their perspectives. It's kind of how I feel when people kind of go to just drinking straight silver rum. I have to understand why they would want to do that and just drink it straight. To each their own. We're gonna go ahead and put a half ounce of that as it spills out of my bottle because these jigger thingies are cheap. Habit number 6, synergize. We're going to synergize this 7 Habits Long Island up with some triple sec. This is something that a lot of people tend to forget to put into their Long Islands, okay? Habit number 6, synergize. We're going to do a half ounce of this as well. It should just develop innovative solutions that leverage diversity and satisfy all key stakeholders. I know it sounds like I'm reading off of a document. It's because I am. It's a project here. But what that does is you just want to make sure that you're giving yourself as many solutions and as much innovation to complete something as possible. The last thing that you want to do is sharpen the saw. And how do we sharpen the saw? By adding lemon juice. Little splashy splash. Habit number 7, it means to increase motivation, energy, and your work, life, and balance by making time for renewing activities. You're gonna go ahead, take another cup, stick that on top, shake it up. All these habits. And you may think, oh, just the 7 habits. That's what they originally said. That's what Stephen Covey originally said, but no, not just 7. There's one more. There is an 8th. So you want to go ahead, strain that drink. It should look a little bit lemony like this, a little bit lemonade like this, but you know what they say? They don't say anything actually. Fill her up with some ice. We are going to top it off with none other than the 8th habit, being represented by Coca-Cola on a squirting gun that you can't really see over here. That 8th habit is to find your voice and inspire others to help find theirs. That's something that's really, really important. Now, this 8th habit, I think it's the most important habit that we can learn from. Everybody has their own voice. A lot of people are trying their best to go and find it, and it's a struggle out here. We're gonna, can't see it, top that 7 Habits Long Island with some Coke. But joke's on you, there's 8 habits in here. First cocktail down, on to the next one. The next cocktail to make on our list for the day is Aristotle's Happy Juice. According to Aristotle, happiness consists in achieving, through the course of a whole lifetime, all of the goods. So you want to know what all the goods are? I'm here to let you know. We're going to start off with our shaker full of ice. All of the goods that you're supposed to achieve in finding happiness in this lifetime, according to Aristotle, is health. Going to be a little bit of a half ounce of coconut rum. Wealth, half ounce of silver rum, if it wants to come out of the bottle ever. I don't think it probably will, because again, these things are cheaper than cheap. A little more than a half ounce, but we love a good time. Knowledge in your spiced rum. Half ounce of that spiced rum going in there, if it actually ever comes out. And friends, which is your pineapple juice. So he says that you need health, wealth, knowledge, and friends. So we're gonna go ahead and shake up all these goods. All of these goods, according to Aristotle, lead to perfection of human nature and to the enrichment of human life. This requires us to make choices, some of which may be very, very difficult, and often the lesser good promises immediate pleasure and is more tempting, while the greater good is painful and requires some sort of sacrifice. The friends that you make along the path of this life may come and go, but the feeling of having a reliable group of others to enjoy life with, and not only depend on to share your happiness with, celebrate your life's achievements with, is something that's really important. It's something that Aristotle truly believes in. I'm gonna go ahead and strain this into your glass. Being able to share joy with others is like being able to share ice cream with the entire universe. It's almost like sharing a rum runner with the entire universe. We're gonna go ahead, we're gonna top that with some grenadine because we didn't have any cranberry juice. Oh, we do have cranberry juice. We do have it, and guess what? I'm gonna squeeze it in here. This is way too red now, but whatever. It makes me happy, which is Aristotle's goal for all of us. The last cocktail on our menu today is gonna be our temperament tea. It is basically a New York sour, but we're calling it temperament tea for the sake of this project. The first ingredient to our temperament tea, obviously you wanna fill your shaker with some ice. We're gonna be starting with bourbon, and bourbon is gonna be representing our choleric temperament because choleric people tend to be impulsive, excitable, and aggressive. From personal experience with bourbon, I tend to become all of those things when I drink bourbon. Choleric people are also known for being active, optimistic people. I know for sure that when I drink bourbon, I am optimistic enough to feel like I can do anything. Moving on to the next ingredient is gonna be our lemon juice. Lemon juice represents the sanguine temperament. This temperament is used to describe somebody who is more full of life, a little bit more appreciative of the good things, more happy, more energetic, more optimistic. This temperament describes a person as extroverted and stable. Sanguine people are loud, carefree people who are responsive and love to live the life that's surrounded by them. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade kind of thing. That's how these sanguine people are thinking. I think I'm just gonna put, I think I put a half ounce. I think I'm supposed to put 1 ounce. So 1 whole ounce of that lemon juice. Going into our next ingredient, you could use simple syrup or maple syrup, but I read on Google this maple syrup is supposed to help it taste better or something. I don't know. And the reason why our maple syrup is in this drink is because it's going to be representing, can't read what I wrote, the phlegmatic temperament. Those who are phlegmatic tend to be peaceful, calm, even-tempered individuals who are careful, thoughtful, and reliable. They're known to be introverted yet stable. So basically, what this syrup does to it, it's a very subtle ingredient and gives that subtle sweetness. And I do believe that it definitely represents that same subtleness that the phlegmatic temperament kind of people are conveying through their lifestyle. The final ingredient to add to this drink, we will get to after we shake. Oh, and that was a half ounce of maple syrup, by the way. I don't know how this is gonna taste. I've never made one of these before. I think I had one at a restaurant one time, but we'll see. Normally you're supposed to do it with like an ice ball, highball glass, but we are a non-profit theater. So we are using one of these, okay? Strain it just like that, like so. Beautiful, beautiful. Gonna add just a little bit of a scoop of ice into here. And now, the final ingredient to this drink represents the melancholic temperament, and I will be using red wine, Pinot Noir, if you will, due to how sleepy I personally get every time that I have a glass of red wine myself. The melancholic temperament type of person is known to be reserved yet also pessimistic and anxious. It also makes sense here, kind of, to have wine representing this temperament because melancholic people tend to be moody, and we all know the difference between a wine buzz and a regular buzz and how moody wine can make you in a good or bad way. What we're gonna do to finish off this drink right here is we're actually gonna take the back of a bar spoon. We're gonna set it like this, like a turtle shell, and we're gonna guide this wine so that way it just levels right on the top of our drink. See that up top? Boom! Temperament tea! Wow, that's actually a pretty cool look. I when I did that. See that? You see that? This separation right there. There is separation. Okay, I didn't try any of the other ones, but I have to try this one. Not for me. Not for me. But it looks cute. Thank you so much for watching and learning how to make these cocktails with me. Now I just want to do a little bit of a reflection on why I chose these topics and what they mean to me. So starting with the 7 habits, I do believe that the 7 habits that we studied by Stephen Covey was something really important that we can all take into our lives. And I do think it's really interesting how when we talked about this subject at first, I was like, oh, this is something like by the textbook, some old philosopher wrote this forever ago. But this is actually habits that have been brought about and been talked about in recent years. And I love the fact that all of the 7 habits actually have a virtue that they go into connection with. So the be proactive being with prudence, the beginning with the end in mind with faith, the put first things first with temperance, the think win-win with hope, the seek first to understand, and to be understood with charity, synergize with justice, and sharpening the saw with fortitude. I think that these are, it's affected me in a way where it's almost like you think about the 10 Commandments and religion and so many different religions having so many different things to live by. These 7 habits, and the 8th habit actually, these 8 habits actually, if we're being for realsies, because there's an 8th habit talking about finding your voice and inspiring others to find theirs, which is the most important one to me. I think that this is something that can actually help us grow as a society and become better people and better brothers and sisters to one another by giving ourselves that discipline to follow those 7 habits, to be successful in our own way. But while we follow these 8 habits, we actually become better people, and us showing justice and prudence and faith and temperaments and hope and all of that through ourselves will inspire others to live the same way. I think that when it comes to me becoming my own ethical leader and using these 8 habits, I'm going to use them every single day. I've been using them since we've been talking about them in class, and I think that it's really going to help me grow to be the leader with the potential that I have. Right? Did I say that right? I don't think I said that right. But you know what I mean. So that second drink, our Aristotle's Happy Juice, was inspired by the happiness module that we discussed in class this semester. I think it was beautiful how Aristotle truly believes that having others to go through life with brings you more happiness, increases your serotonin levels, and in turn allows for a longer, healthier life. I mean, it's truly important to realize that happiness is the key to a healthy, long life. And friends and friendship do help you bring that happiness. I don't believe that we are meant to be in a world alone. I believe that we were meant to be put in this world, and if we ever were alone, we were meant to lean on one another and to have that friendship. And sometimes when people aren't happy, not saying that you should depend on other people for your happiness, but being able to share that happiness that you have inside of you with others who may not feel it as well creates a friend. It creates someone who wants to be around you and wants to spend time with you, and just having a friendship leads to having a love and a respect for someone. And when you have that love and respect for someone, you just continue to build and grow and spread that love throughout your community. This really resonated with me because I do truly believe that happiness is the key to life. And I believe that if we are going to be a successful society with people who go through relationships and friendships and business partnerships and anything like that, at the end of the day, when you go to your job, when you go to school, when you go to your whatever you do, your key should be to find the happiness in everything that you are faced with in every day. And, you know, I always say you shouldn't depend on somebody else for your happiness, but instead create your own happiness and share it with the world. That way, people are more inspired by seeing you create your own happiness, that they want to do it for themselves, and in turn, more happiness is spread out in the world. And I think that it's going to help me to become an ethical leader, because nobody wants an angry boss. Nobody wants an angry, not even boss, nobody wants an angry leader. Nobody wants somebody in a bad mood. Everybody wants somebody who can lead in a way where they find the good, they find the positive, and they find the light in any dark situation. Our last drink, Temperament Tea, was inspired by the 4 temperaments. I chose this because it was probably my favorite exercise that we did in the entire class. I didn't want to sound like conceited or anything, or sound too, confident in who I thought I was, but I definitely do personally think that I do fall into that sanguine temperament kind of area. There are some days where I can be, a little bit choleric and a little bit more aggressive and restless, but it was my favorite exercise that we did, other than learning about the allegory of the cave this semester, because it just kind of went a little bit more into detail of yes, we are all human and we're all the same, but we are all meant to be different. Some of us are meant to be phlegmatic, some of us are meant to be choleric, some of us are meant to be melancholic, but we have to be able to recognize and, what's the word? I guess recognize people like that and understand different behavioral patterns of people to better respect and understand those around us. I do believe that the temperament exercise that we did and learning about the 4 temperaments will help me to become an ethical leader, because you have to have an understanding of every person that you come into contact with. Maybe, like me personally, I might be fun, energetic, and outgoing and wanting to do backflips all the time, but I might work with somebody or have a relationship with somebody that isn't as, lively and carefree and, talkative. Maybe they're a little bit more calm and a little bit more even-tempered, and maybe they're just more quiet and more unsociable, and that's okay, because we have to learn how to respect those around us and learn how to work and cooperate with the people that we're growing with and living with and loving and working with, and I do believe that'll help me a lot. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, and I guess by you guys I mean Professor Kalela. I hope you really enjoyed this. This was my take on my final project in between balancing multiple jobs and school and all these final projects, so I really hope you enjoyed, and I hope that you take these recipes and you make these drinks at home. Except for this one, I really didn't like this one, so don't make this one unless you can make it better. Cheers!